Happy Labor Day, everybody. Brian McMillan.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Great. You traveling? You sticking around town?
Sticking around town.
All right. It's Free for All Friday for this August 29th, 2025. So we're starting it going here. We got back in the studio. Love them or hate them. When you heard the promo, you go, what? Everybody loves Jay Gardner. Is that true?
I hope so.
Well, look at it like this. Actually, you're an elected official, and maybe the most loved elected official in Flagler County. Is that true?
No comment.
The fewest opposing candidates over the years.
That's true.
Per election.
That could be
That's pretty good.
Yeah, your next campaign slogan be the most loved elected official. For how many years have you been our not our supervisor? Never mind. For our property appraiser, yeah.
Just over 20 years.
20 years.
Wow.
So how many candidates have run against you in that time?
None.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Zero?
Well, because they all love him.
Holy
they don't.
cow.
You don't want to run against somebody you love.
You've had zero opponents.
Yeah.
When I first ran, no one ran against me, and I'm walking around all
Oh, my
swole
goodness.
up. I'm thinking I'm tough and all. The next time, 4 years later, no one ran, and I went, wait a minute. Think I've been had.
Well,
Maybe nobody wanted this job but me.
That's right. Okay.
Huh, that's amazing.
Hey, we got Frank Mendola in the studio. Get close to that microphone, Frank, and you're on the air with us live. So, good morning.
Good morning.
All right. So you're a guy that we need to get to know. Thank you and appreciate the work that you're doing, building the Promenade. Hey, Brian, you're the. Is it Promenade or Promenade?
I think it's Promenade, but you know.
What is it, Frank?
What
Promenade?
do you call it?
We say promenade.
Promenade. I actually did AI search on the proper pronunciation, and it's either way is proper. It says depending on the geography of where you're from. So
Well, we're in the South. We're a little fancier than Promenade. You know.
Tomato.
all right. Well, Jay's got that Southern accent. So
No,
what is
tomato?
it? To you?
It's definitely tomato. It's
All
definitely
right.
not tomato.
All right. Is it Jay? You make the official determination here. Is it Promenade or Promenade? And I will always call it that way going forward.
See, I would probably go with Promenade, but that's because I'm from Mississippi. So.
Well, that's south still, I think. Anyway. All right. Well, we're going to have, hey, get your trim notice out. Did you get a trim notice on your house?
I did.
Okay. I got one, and everybody that owns the house got one. That and did they get mailed to the address, or if somebody is up north and owns the house, where does it go to?
A mailing address. A mailing address, not the physical. It can go to the physical, of course,
Okay.
but whatever you have for your mailing, because we want you to see it. So if you own a home here and don't live here and you're up north, it's coming up there.
So if somebody rents here, and the owner is somewhere else, it would go to the
Somewhere
owner,
else.
not to the renter.
Typically,
wouldn't get it.
yes.
So that's the only time when you're hoping that your house is worth less. When you get your tax bill, right?
Well, we're going to find out about that. Because, by the way, I did promote, and we already got text questions for you. So we're going to throw those at you. We're going to see if we can stump you on any. But here's the text number, okay? It's a new one. So if you want to text us a question to Jay or to Frank or to Brian, whatever, make a comment. It's 386-259-0879. That's 259-0879. If you want to text something, hopefully we see it and ask the question and or make the comment on what it is. So trim notice, let's start with the beginning on that. What are they? It says right on the front, do not pay. It's not a bill. But so what is a trim notice?
Do people ever pay it, by the way?
They call about paying it, but no one pays it, no. It's
Even though it says that right on the...
Yeah.
Cameras are on, by the way, so there it is. Even though it says that in yellow and red, do not pay, people will call you and go, am I supposed to pay this?
Yeah. Well, it's a shot across the bow. It's a required document. The stuff on there is required by statute, and it's going to tell you basically all the information from the prior year. Then it's going to tell you if the taxing authorities went to rollback, and that next column is going to show you what it would be if they did rollback. Rollback is simply a rate they come up with that goes times their taxable values that would not be a tax increase. Then the third column is what they're budgeting, which is typically more than the middle column. That's the one you need to be looking at. I believe it's yellow. I didn't bring a copy with me.
Yep, I got.
Yeah.
Got
So
mine.
the yellow column down at the bottom, and of course you pay it early. So you get a 4% discount off that number if you're comparing it to what you paid last year. And most likely the taxing authorities in their meetings here, the last meetings and budget stuff, they may lower it again a little bit. That happens quite often, just a little bit. But so it could be less. But it is your chance to contact the property appraiser's office if you think we're wrong, and that's what people are doing right now. We're getting a lot of calls, a lot of visits to the office so they can discuss why their taxes are where they are. It also posts on there, you'll notice all the first meetings for the taxing authorities, so you can show up and discuss where your money's going.
So
Is that what you call it, discussing?
Yeah. So you do. I mean, people call and sorry. Well, let's
we're
answer
very
because I
busy.
had several people text already
Yeah.
saying, "How did he determine what my?" So is Frank going to get one? Is when the promenade promenade, right?
Promenade.
Like lemonade, not lemonade.
No, Promenade.
Well, yeah, the Promenade obviously is a nice commercial development that's going up right now, which we'll be proud to have right over there, by the lake, by City Hall and everything. And right now they pay real estate taxes on the land only. The building and everything's not completed yet. And they're just shy about $40,000 a year right now, just on, as I say, the dirt. Now, of course, when they finish your building, we're going to be substantially more, in the range of probably maybe just south of $1.1 million a year in taxes.
In
Whoa.
property taxes?
Whoa.
Yeah.
So that $1 million goes into $1.05 million goes into the city general fund.
Goes everywhere.
Actually,
City, county,
including
schools,
the
it's divided up. And on your trim
Right.
notice, you can see each taxing authority, what they're levying, and there's their proposed millage rates on there. So if you looked at Frank's bill today, it would be based on the land, a little less than $40,000, and that's divvied up between each of the taxing authorities. The city's 4-point-something mils, the county's around 8 mils, schools are probably in the range of where the county part is. So
but actually some of that goes into the CRA,
that's
Right.
That's okay.
the tax increment.
Keep in mind the CRA, the county's any increases in value since that project started there, town center, all of that excess money always stays within the CRA. The county does not receive it.
So that what the county's getting no more than they normally would have out of the 40,000. That's all going to the CRA,
Yeah.
the entire
Yeah.
amount.
Well, actually, no, they don't even get the 40,000 because when this first started, the CRA was established. That was all agricultural land. So that was the
Wow.
starting point. It is, I would suggest, very unfair if I was the county. But as long as the money's spent wisely, I guess it's okay. But it is not money the county gets to use.
Zero of that.
So there's
Wow.
a whole lot of reasons why different taxing authorities don't
Well,
get
here we
money.
are. We're being rude to Frank. We're
Sorry,
sitting
Frank.
here.
We're just talking
What do you
about
think
it.
about? What do you think about your tax
talking about
bill,
his
Frank?
$1 million, all this kind of stuff, like he's not even here.
We
All
should
right.
be shaking his hand and patting him on the back.
No, I'm just thinking, we're talking about almost $100,000 a month in new tax money going to Flagler County, however it's dispersed, right?
Yeah.
That's correct.
Okay, get close to your microphone. Don't be shy now. So, and this has all got to be built into the now. We'll then throw on impact fees. So here we go. So let's understand you as you're with Persimmons Capital, right? So tell us what you do, Frank, with Persimmons Capital.
Well, we develop the properties. We're the ones we'll tie up the land. We'll get it entitled, and actually make sure our performer works on the property before we go forward. And the equity requirements today are pretty stringent. The cost of money is expensive today, as you know. So we put all that together in a performa and make sure the numbers work based on what we're proposing to build. So moving forward, we can see what the entitlements are for that parcel of land or two parcels, whatever you assemble, and see, if the market can bear.
I have,
And so go ahead, Brian.
Well, I have a question about what the market can bear because I think that there's what you hear a lot from residents is that there's a perception that the developers are making a lot of money on all these different things, and I'm just thinking here, like, the way the marketplace goes, like usually the profit gets winnowed down pretty severely when there's a lot of competition. And I'm just wondering, like on a unit, what kind of profit do you make? I mean, can you tell us that? Like, what kind of profit do you make on building a house or building a residential unit?
Well, the profit is actually realized, the net operating income is realized after all those expenses are taken out, because that's your actual barometer for your value of the property, okay? People don't realize that, today with the impact fees, with the CDD fees that we pay, the hard cost construction is way up from what it used to be. Borrowing money is much more expensive than it was even 5 years ago. So all those play into fact. You're always looking at a norm, comparing, say, your investment dollars to, say, CDDs or something like that. Say if they're at 7% or 6.5%, are you going to make more margin on your money based on a static norm like that? Is it worth the risk? Okay, and believe it or not, it's marginal today. Everybody thinks everybody's making so much money. The only time a developer would really make any kind of real upside value is if they were to sell the properties, okay? And possibly if the overall capitalization rate is in your favor at the time, possibly you make upside value. But right now, that's not the case. And that's why these are long-term holds of what we're building, and that's why we're constructing these buildings out of concrete, not stick. These buildings will last for 1,000 years. Waterproof, they're hurricane-proof, they're fireproof, bug-proof, all the things you want to minimize any liability going forward.
So is your company, do you have stockholders? Do you have investors? Where do you get your money from?
No, it's just private money.
Oh,
That's
okay.
right. Yeah.
How much does it cost to build this? And we're, by the way, if you just tuned in, we're talking about the Promenade.
Does not rhyme with lemonade.
All right, okay. Does not line with a lemonade. All right, well, anyway, okay. So, all right. So, how much is it going to cost to build? It's such a beautiful, what a great project, and we'll talk about that. It's got so much to it. I mean, this is what Town Center was designed. You're the centerpiece of it right now.
That's right.
It wasn't Shimeno's offices. It is this.
That's right.
And so how much does it cost? What's the nut to just build that thing?
Well, the hard cost, vertical hard cost on just the structure, it's about $55 million. Okay, and then with the soft costs and other carrying costs, we're over $75 million. And then banks today, you're at 80% equity requirement, so it's a big chunk of money down. So there's a lot of money at risk right now.
Well, let's talk about risk, okay?
Yeah.
Because like anybody, whatever you do, there's risk. And this is like, hardball risk here to it. Because, I mean, you have, like you say, a lot of them, and you got to be very patient to get a return on the money if you're an investor in something like this.
Yeah, Bill Angrick is a main principal in the company, okay, and the founder of Persimmon Capital Partners. He, he has other businesses going too, but this is basically something that he is doing as a side. But he has a residence here too in Flagler Beach. But yeah,
so he's local.
He's local. He's got a vested interest in the area now. His father lives in Jacksonville, and the reasons for him to be here, he loves the area. Originally from Iowa, and he Notre Dame guy. Spent a lot of his time up there and on the board there. But yeah, just a great guy, and spent a lot of time just outside in Bethesda, Maryland. Has a company that he brought public up there in Washington area.
Okay.
So the company's investing about $75 million into this project. And how long from when you first start spending that money, how long until somebody is actually paying you for?
Well, yeah, the revenue stream, you're looking at about a 2-year build out, okay? And that's just on the residential portions. We have 204 units, over about 60,000 square feet of commercial retail. The trick here is now to get the retail vendors and people in there to start leasing up the property on the first level of the building. It's a mixed-use project.
You do that first before the residential
You do both.
units?
You try to get the commercial space going, get that ball moving. Typically, they have a longer window for build-out as opposed to the residents who would basically maybe come 2 or 3 months before they're ready to lease an apartment. Okay.
So these are all leased apartments. You can't buy. They're not condoed.
No,
Okay.
they're not condo. I mean, they can be in the future, It's built. It's all individually metered. It can be condoed in the future, but right now it's strictly market rate rents, and we'll have some affordable rents in there too, a percentage. So,
Well, to get an idea of what you're doing, if you haven't been to Town Center lately, you should go by there and look at. Some people have seen the progress of it, and so go to, what's your website where they can take a look at the whole project right now while they're listening to this?
yeah, you know what? I don't have it with me right now.
See,
I
I
believe it's
had
on
it.
the literature. Yeah, it's
I don't have it with me right now. I had it. It's promenadetowncenter.com.
.com.
Promenade
Yeah.
Town Center.
Promenade.
Yeah.
All right. So anyway, check that out. Let's go back to Jay Gardner here because we were talking about the trim tab. And anyway, I'm trim tabs. What's that
tabs on a boat.
Yeah, what shows you where my mind is for Labor Day weekend right now. Anyway, so the trim notice that people got in the mail, and then there was also this letter, right? That explains. So explain this one. Are you a new homeowner in Flagler County? If you purchase your property in 2025, you may notice exemptions such as Homestead, Senior, or Disability listed on your current property record. These exemptions are granted to the previous owner, and they will be removed in the next tax year.
Yes.
Okay, so somebody buying, because we're just talking about the increased, if they bought that house like 20 years ago and sold it to somebody today, there's going to be a big difference.
Likely there would be a difference, and you want to make sure they're aware of that. You know, they're realtors, the title companies, everyone's explaining this, but, sometimes things you don't understand, you don't really listen to, and we just worry that they won't come in because once it's removed, the bill goes from $2,000 to $6,000, and they didn't see it coming. Mm-hmm. So they come in my office. So I want them to understand before because I don't want people mad at me over it, okay? But, it's important for them to look at it and at a bare minimum, check in with us on it.
So if somebody has a homestead exemption and they've been capping their increase on their taxes and it's, staying... Save our homes. And it's staying like at a pretty low, relatively speaking. And then they move across town in Palm Coast, let's say. What happens to their taxes?
The person that sold the house would then move whatever he can from the existing house to the new house.
Meaning
Port.
they port their exemptions.
Well, you file for your exemption again. That's easy. But then you bring the protected value you were talking about to save our homes, that 3% cap. Mm-hmm. Some or all of it comes with you to the new house. And that's anywhere in the state of Florida.
So if if the new home you get is worth a lot more than that, you have to pay. You're not.
Well, your bill is going to be higher, but you brought all of your protected value with you because it's equal or greater in value to the home you left. Now that's depending on what the property appraiser says, not what you think. Mm-hmm. It's always the property appraiser's value that gets used in that. But if you move to a cheaper house, it'll be a ratio. So it might be less than what you had in the other house, but it will be a same ratio.
So what about if you move to Volusia County from here?
You would just do the same thing.
Same thing. Get closer to that microphone a little bit.
So
there.
You would
Florida?
apply.
Yeah.
So Save Your Homes is portable in Florida or in?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So if someone moves from Georgia here, then they're starting over and they got the high tax rate.
And they tend to come in and see me and talk about why, your taxes are less than his. Mm. And we have to explain that.
Yeah, okay.
like
You're not a real Floridian yet.
There's not reciprocal with other states. All right. Okay, I've got a lot. Go ahead.
Do you carry your original basis over from your original property over?
Well, there's protected value builds up over time. Mm-hmm. We raise value, but you're capped at 3%.
Right.
If I raise
or
value,
cost of living or 3%.
Right. It's 3% or CPI, whichever's
Right.
less.
Okay.
But
Right.
just for
The
the
consumer
right
price
now,
of it,
lately,
yeah.
it's always about 3. This year it was really low. It was 2.9%. Okay. That was normally it's been 3 the last 4 or 5 years.
And that's only for your primary residence when
Yes.
you're homesteaded in, right?
Yes.
Now,
Yes.
if you have income property somewhere else, what's the max they can raise it?
It's 10% is a cap on the second year of your own when your building's done,
Mm-hmm.
but the schools are immune to it. Palm Coast, that's 30-something% of your bill, and in West County, where there's no city, it's probably 40-something% of your bill is exempted from that.
Gotcha.
The 10% doesn't save a lot.
Yeah.
It just kind of slows it down as we kick you in the shin.
So, property appraiser. All right, a lot. I have several questions. I got more on this. How did you determine? And then, okay, let's stay focused, Brian. Follow me
I'm
here.
trying.
That's why it's free for all, because none of us can stay focused. Anyway, all right. So how do you evaluate just a typical house in Palm Coast? How do you come up with that number for the evaluation of it? What ingredients go into it?
So the bottom line is we're building a statistical model. You think about this, I appraise, residentially speaking, like 83,000 things a year, okay? I'm not resident, but real estate, okay? Parcels. That's a lot. So we're doing it with mass appraisal. But this statistical model that we built is based on what people are buying and selling houses for. And we zero down to a neighborhood, an area, and we have neighborhood codes, quality codes, all kind of factors. But all the things that your house is made of, the materials, the condition, I mean, we get down to the roof and the floor coverings. But we run your house through the model, so think Zillow, except we're good at it. We have boots on the ground and such. You know, we're qualifying data and looking at stuff and making decisions. But everyone's getting an appraisal every January 1st on their house. So it's really a good thing. The equity stays in the equation, you know, and you only pay taxes on what you have. Of course, people that just got here with no exemptions and such are not real happy because they're comparing, you know, Brian's really low tax bill to theirs, and it's confusing to them. But it's
mine is really low.
So, and you want to keep it that way.
I do.
But except until it comes time to sell it. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So a lot of, I'm trying to melt together some other questions that we got. One of them was Zillow. Like, how accurate is Zillow? Somebody wanted to know.
So Zillow is statistical modeling, and it depends. If you're in Palm Coast doing a lot, and there's within a certain distance, there's 1,000 sales. Zillow's very accurate. But you can be in a neighborhood when the market's slow and one sale happens, like an expensive house, and it'll change the value of your house like $400,000 because they don't have data. Or worse, they reach further away from it and they're picking up data that's got nothing to do with it. So that can happen. But no, Zillow can be very accurate. But statistics, you can't do a statistical analysis when you got 2 or 3 sales. It doesn't work. So it can be really a problem. Now with us, what we do is we start looking at other areas that we know are competitive, and we can spread it a bit. And, you know, and we also have a lot of history we can look at, so we kind of understand. I mean, if there's no sales in a condo, that doesn't mean the value didn't change. There's just no sales. So we're always, you know, looking at that. But Zillow can be accurate, but I wouldn't bet the farm on it.
Okay. By the way, the text number is, if you want to text in questions to Jay or to Frank, it's 386-259-0879, 259-0879. Another question, I just did some major remodeling inside my house. How would Jay possibly know, you know, and would that increase the value of my house from an appraisal point of view?
He knows. He knows.
Not always. There's a lot of things that don't require permits, guys. You can put new floors and new appliances. There's no permit requirements. So I may not know quite often about stuff. Now, when you get ready to sell your house or something, then there's MLS, and you know it becomes a public thing. You click on Zillow, and there's the photos of the inside of your house, that kind of thing. But when you're homesteaded, you can replace, for example, the roof on your house. That's considered basically like maintenance. So the market value goes up, but your assessment is still capped, so it doesn't hurt you if you're homesteaded.
Meaning it doesn't increase your taxes.
Right. It would be still, you know, using that 3% or CPI for the cap. So it's okay to do that kind of stuff. Now, here's an example. You buy a house in June, needs a lot of work. You're going to file for homestead to follow in January. Don't fix everything before January 1, because I will start out with a higher value for your base year, which is coming next January. So if you're thinking about doing stuff that you could put off, you may want to give me a call and talk about it to make sure you do what's best for you.
So do you give consultations like that? Someone's
Anything.
like, how do I make sure I'm paying as little in taxes as I can?
Well,
you could give advice on that?
Rephrase it. You're paying what you're supposed to be paying with all the breaks that are allowed by statute.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, we would certainly help. And you're buying a house, tax estimates. Call me. We will give you a tax estimate that's at least in the neighborhood. Because I mean, so many people are coming in right now going, nobody told me, we're retired. We were counting on, $200 a month in taxes. Well, no, it's $450 a month in taxes. And they didn't plan on that. But they need to, if they had called us, we would have given them an estimate. And, we'll help any way we can, but short of me paying your tax bill.
Let's see, one here. My neighbor's yard is crappy and the house looks like junk. Will that affect the value of my property?
That's one of those things that's fleeting. I mean, a lawnmower and fertilizer and a few things, and it's a fine house. So it's. I mean, you may have more trouble selling a house if your neighbor's a pig. Okay, but then you can get on the phone with code enforcement, and keep complaining until they do what they're supposed to do. Palm Coast is pretty good about, certain rules, but that's one of those things that, if the whole neighborhood looks like that, well, the sales will dictate it, and that's what we do. If the sales say that it's worth less, we don't question even why. These are what the sales are. So it could. But we're not just going to come in and make a $100,000 adjustment because you don't like the way the neighbor's yard looked. That's a little much.
So when recently, the city council in Palm Coast has been talking about different things like house colors and things like that, and this frequently gets brought up. We're talking about the property values of our homes. Does something like house colors impact property values like over a long term, or is that not really accurate?
It could. I mean, it's buyers and sellers are making decisions based on a bunch of stuff. Mm-hmm. And if you have, I don't know, how do you say it, an ugly neighborhood, the prices will slowly reflect that. I wouldn't want someone to, I don't know, whatever, the horrible colors, some neon color, or your whole house and roof and everything is black. I mean, I can imagine there being something that just makes no sense, and I wouldn't like it. I mean...
Yeah.
Frank, go ahead, Frank.
Well, when we would analyze a piece of property, you're going to look at some other things too. You've got functional obsolescence, say a detached garage, small kitchen, small bathrooms, functional. Physical obsolescence, where things are just outdated, but you also have economic obsolescence, okay, where neighborhoods may turn, okay, which will affect values too. Yeah.
And the nice thing about the property appraiser is everything that was just said there, Frank said, is absolutely true. But here's the deal: I'm doing this appraisal on January 1, and you won't know what I've done till probably middle of the year. So I get to look at all the sales, and the sales know exactly what was just described. Colors of the house, conditions, the overall neighborhood. I mean, houses. In one neighborhood sell for more than houses in another. Why? All these things. So, I mean, the bottom line is the sales never lie. I mean, once we weed out the weird things, we come up with a value that reflects all of those things.
Sales never lie.
Will you ever?
That's a good book title. You should write that book.
Another question. Will you ever come knocking on my door to look at my house?
Yes, absolutely. We knock on your door, in theory, once every 5 years. When you build a house, we've already probably been there. We have the plans, the permits. But once a house is established, statute says that I have to look at it every 5 years. They do allow us to use aerials. If we can see the house, I can even measure your house with pictometry from using aerials and be pretty accurate. But,
so is it accurate that there used to be more boots on the ground assessments, and now it's more electronic and with pictures?
There is some more, yeah. There's a lot of places where I can show you a lot with an aerial, and you can't even tell there's a house there. So we'll be there, and there's also things that we still need to see. I mean, if you put something in your backyard, well, our aerials aren't 15 minutes ago. Right now they're 2.5 years old because it cost me $100-something thousand to get a new set. So the new ones are being flown, but it won't be long. But yes, there are some times we won't come to your house, and we would come to your house, and the people need to understand this. We'll knock on the door, and if you're not home, we're going to walk down the property line, make sure everything looks right in the back, take a picture or two, and leave. We can't make appointments when I talked about how many things we do with business returns and everything else. It's 88,000 things a year. So I'd have to hire 40 inspectors if I was making appointments.
Okay, we got to take a break. This is what we do. This is how we make how do you make your money? Oh, that's right. You don't have to make it. You just get it. Unlike Brian and me, and oh my gosh, talk about Frank over there. Man, you must live. You ever get nervous about the business you're in, Frank?
All the time. Oh, yeah, sure.
Okay, we're going to take a break. We'll be back with more Free for All Friday. We got our property appraiser, Jay Gardner, also our neighbor, and the all-new Promenade in the town center. We'll find out more. And text in your questions real quick. 259-0879, 259-0879.
Don't even think about climbing that ladder.
We got a guy that'll do it for you.
If you're going to do it right with
that's
Benjamin Moore.
We've got the professional painters and the best paint.
Benjamin Moore, corner of Old Kings and Utility Drive.
Palm Coast.
Locals know where locals go.
For great music, dancing, fantastic food, and great times. You'll love these tunes.
Johnny D's Beach Bar and Grill. We're waiting for you.
In a world where personal service and people who really care about you can be lost, we want you to know we are different. We love engaging with our clients. That's just how we've been since 2008. Your milestones in life and business are our milestones, and we are with you every step of the way. We can do everything that big banks do, but we add the community banking touch. If you're already one of our clients, thank you. And if not, we would love to be your locally owned community bank. I'm Laura Gilveri. Welcome to Intracoastal Bank, member FDIC.
Have you signed up for the Evolve Learning from Leaders Breakfast? It's a powerful panel discussion on proven AI strategies you can use right away to grow your market share and business success. Sign up now. Breakfast included at the Hammock Beach Resort, Friday, September 5th from 7:30 to 9:30 a.m. Presented by Halifax Health. Seating is limited, so sign up now. Google Learning from Leaders Palm Coast. That's Learning from Leaders Palm Coast.
Well, when we first moved to town and opened our business, we were trying to find out the best way to advertise and let the people know we were here. And I heard a lot of other local businesses seem to be on the radio.
People are coming in
and repeating the ad
to us, which is hilarious.
Thousands of listeners, affordable advertising.
Advertising on Flagler radio stations has worked really great for us, and we're going to continue to do so.
Get your message on the radio. Call Flagler Broadcasting Director of Sales, Kirk Keller.
That's me, 986-9911.
Flagler County High School football live this Friday night at 7 on WNZF Radio. This Friday, it's the University Titans taking on the Matanzas Pirates. It's all brought to you by Arctic Breeze, Blinds by Jason, Cash It In Jewelry and Pawn, Flagler Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, J&J Auto Body, Basileros Wagner, The Lawyer Dude, Palm Coast Acupuncture and Chiropractic. Catch all the play-by-play action live with Rich Carroll and Mike Licio on 94.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the Flagler Radio mobile app.
20 minutes before 10 o'clock Friday. It is August 29th, unless you're listening on the podcast, and then it is whatever day it is and whatever time it is. But anyway, just tuned in, catch the podcast. You can listen to it from the beginning on YouTube, Flagler Radio YouTube channel, the WNZF Facebook page, Instagram, on the radio, AM and FM. But either way, I can't even name them all.
It's just figuring out how to distribute the content.
That's it. Thank you. You picked up on that. Content distribution. That's what we do, whatever we can do. Just like you with newspapers.
That's right.
On the driveway or on your inbox on your computer.
You can get the e-edition texted to you every Thursday morning now.
Really? How much does that cost?
Cost $0.
Really?
Just text the number. I'll have to find the stuff.
I'm selling. You've got newspapers in our. I've been selling them for 50 cents. Is that okay? All right. Okay.
Give them a break.
Our guest this morning, we're talking about you and the trim notices that came out into the mails box and the taxes that are proposed and what they were last year and kind of. But I think that's good. If you have questions, you can easily call the tax office because Jay, you've got people there that are willing and wanting to answer the question. You talk to them yourself?
As much as I can. I'm only one person, but yes.
Oh, okay.
I can attest to that. I've called and Jay's actually answered the phone.
Oh.
Yes.
All right. Well, see, there you go. So we'll give your phone number out at the end here. Anyway, we've been promoting people to text in questions, and I got a bunch of them, so I'm going to throw them at you. I don't want us to run out of time. The text number is 386-259-0879. All right. So here's one. Selling my house that's Homestead for $375,000, moving to country to house that's sold for $200,000. Is my protected value subtracted from the sales price? Then new tax is added on $175,000. Is my new tax now $4,000 instead of the current tax of $2,000? In other words, are we stuck in our current home when we need to downsize?
When they downsize, they will take some of their protected value and dump it on the new, quote, he said $200,000 house. So that house will obviously start out with a lower bill because of the fact that it's a lesser house, but he also will have his protected value and his exemptions. I can't answer the question with money because I got to know where the house is, what I'm actually saying it's worth, what the millage rates are. There's a lot of moving parts, but you're very fortunate if you've been in the house a long time and have protected value. You will take some or all of it with you when you do move. So as we said earlier.
All right. Another one was, what home improvements can I make that would have the most effect of improving the value of my home?
Well, that's a loaded question. But, I mean, most of the things you see people doing are new roofs, updating kitchens and bathrooms and all of that. Almost, kind of probably a better question for your realtor or something like that. But, no, I think a lot of that stuff when you're getting ready to sell, I mean, if they walk in the house and you got a track in the carpet, where you walk through every day with mud on your feet and all that, that's not a good selling point. People look at it as a fixer-upper. But, I mean, when a house is in good shape, I mean, I know that I've seen where the realtors, my wife, for example, will have someone actually change the backsplash in the kitchen because it didn't look good, and then they sell the house. So there are things you got to do to move the house, but value-wise, I mean, certainly, the big items change the value. I mean,
what about a swimming pool?
Oh, yeah, somebody just texted that question.
Yeah, well, swimming pools, I mean, unfortunately, probably, a typical old pool with a screen cage is going to cost you $100,000 these days. And you're going to wind up with, say, an extra, I'm rounding here, okay, don't hold me to it, but say an extra $1,200 a year in taxes. That's $100 a month. So every time you go swimming, start dividing and seeing how much it's costing you per swim, because it is expensive. And
that's dad math right there.
Well, but the point is that you do want to know that it's costing you money, and it is not protected by the 3% cap. It
Really?
is brand new stuff, and we, as we said earlier, kick you in the shin. So you can certainly call us and tell us more about your pool, and we can give you an estimate. And that number should be on the trim notice.
What is the number? Let's give it to people listening right now.
386-313-4150, and it's certainly on the trim notice.
That's your cell phone number?
Yeah. My personal one, so don't use it.
It's a good free-for-all Friday tradition.
If you have questions and you want to talk to Jay, you can call him at his office at 313-4150. And if you have some specific situations or things.
So someone puts in a pool and with the cage, and like maybe they spend $100,000 on the house, and maybe their taxable value was $300. Now their taxable value is $400.
Probably something in the range of $365, $370.
Why $365 as opposed to $400?
Well, first off, we're not 100%. We always adjust out, commissions, title work, stuff like that. So I'm always going to be lower on the value. And then a pool doesn't necessarily return its cost. So it's based what the market generates. But, say $65,000, and it could be a little more than that.
Does anything generate its cost that you have seen like is pretty consistent? Like if you put that in, it raises the property value about the same amount.
I don't know. Maybe putting a new roof on, because obviously you can't get insurance unless you do things like that. But no, I haven't looked at it that way to judge what percentage you're getting. But things that have to be done, doesn't even matter. You got to do it. I mean, a house is something that lasts a long time. Maybe not 1,000 years, as what Frank said, but they last a long time. But if you, at 30 years, didn't replace your roof and it's leaking, how long before they put your house in a dumpster? I mean, you've got to take care of it for it to last, and that's replacing the necessary things.
Okay, another one is homestead exemptions. There's been talk about, I'm trying to paraphrase this here, there's been talk of them increasing homestead exemptions in Tallahassee. So what's the latest with that?
You know, there's a whole bunch of things. None of them have legs yet, so to speak, and if they do try to do something, they will have to bring it before the voters. Most of the longtime homesteaders are not complaining or asking for anything, and every time you do this, you're picking on the people that don't get it. You're picking on the commercial properties. You're picking on the non-homesteaders, the investors that have a rental house. You know, you just keep shucking the expenses off on other people. Our tax roll right now, this was like $28 billion, okay? Only about about $18 billion of that's available for the taxing authorities because of exemptions, CAP, you know, Homestead, senior, all of those, you know, 100% veteran disabilities,
Churches.
things. Yeah, well, all of those things pull money out of the tax roll, so, you know, you're going to pull some more money out. That's sort of like getting rid of property tax.
Yeah, what would happen if we got rid of property tax?
You would, you know, you've got two pockets right now. They're going to reach in your other pocket and get the money because you have to pay for local government. It's $55 billion is generated a year in property tax by local government spent locally. Sales tax only generates like $46 billion. So think about that. I just said you have to more than double sales tax to offset it. And then when people quit coming to Florida because tourism's going down because of the sales tax being so high, then what do you have? They raise it again and again. And, you know, I mean, it's not really something that's feasible.
A lot of people seem to be talking about it a lot more seriously than I would have imagined when I first heard about it.
You had the governor say it out loud.
Right.
That's pretty serious. Yeah. But I mean, yeah, get rid of property tax. It's a hated tax because if I ask you what you paid in property tax, what did you pay in property tax? You can tell me. You can get close. Now I'm going to ask you, what did you pay in sales tax last year? You got no dang idea. Mm-mm. So, I mean, sales tax, but it's also something that fluctuates more with the market. If you had a business in the Panhandle and they were going to do this, you'd want to jump off the roof of the building because I'm going to drive to Georgia and, you know, right across the state line and buy stuff because it doesn't have a 16% sales tax or something.
Do you, go ahead, Frank.
Was that just the ad valorem portion of the tax?
Yeah, they're not going to help you with your non-ad valorem. You're still going to get kicked in the head on that.
Sure.
So are you going to appraise Frank's building, the Promenade?
Yeah.
You're going to appraise it?
Yeah.
Did you know what it's going to be worth when it's done now?
Well, no. Frank and I talked a little about it, and just kind of dealing with cost. You're probably, you know, I think, what did you say, 75, you know, they'll have into it million. And, you know, the bottom line, what everybody cares about is that'll generate over $1 million in real estate taxes.
So here I got to, all right, why do people, here, what you're doing at the Promenade is bringing over $1 million a year of new revenue into Flagler County in taxes alone. Right. Plus, you're providing a beautiful place for people to live, for businesses. We can go and have dinner and dining and walk around the park, and you're bringing all this stuff to it and everything. How can the people bitch about that?
They shouldn't. And the sales tax, too, that's going to be generated, the jobs, you know, that we're creating for people. And to mention, too, that area is kind of specific because it was developed about 20 years ago. IT&T started the infrastructure there. The horizontal improvements are already there. You know, the water, sewer, lift stations, street lights, sidewalks, everything was in place. So not only that, we are paying on a bond, on a CDD fees for a bond. I believe it was a 30-year bond. I believe there's about 11 years left on that bond. Mm-hmm. So we're paying that in addition to the property tax, too.
And it's real important for people to think about it. The land tax you pay is, say, $40,000 on them two parcels. But that's like 25% of what he's paying every year because of the bond that's paid for the roads that people are driving on. That wasn't paid for by government. That's privately built, that whole community.
That's right.
And that's a very important point.
That's right.
It was done for us for free, and we're all driving through there complaining about the apartments or something on roads that were built by the development.
Why town center? I mean, you've got Persimmon Capital. You could go anywhere in the world you wanted to build something. Why Palm Coast? Why town center?
Okay, because you're basically a step ahead of the program. All right, you have an area that's already been entitled. Okay, it's a master plan development. You already have the infrastructure in place. The horizontals are already there. Okay, we can go vertical instantly. You don't have to develop the roads and develop the sewer and water and
Retention.
and retention areas. It's all master planned. So all the retention water is all accounted for.
So you guys are betting. You're betting You're betting, all right, $75 million plus probably on the future of Palm Coast.
That's correct. Yeah.
That those 204 units will be filled. That those commercial, that first floor all around the 60,000 square feet is going to be filled, and if it doesn't, then there's a lot less chance.
Well, there's a lot of risk.
Absolutely,
absolutely. And this is virgin territory, even for the city. Okay, they said, wait, we should have done this 17 years ago. What was the problem? And we found out that one of the bigger problems that we see here is the capacity of the sewage plants. Okay, Plant 1 and Plant 2. I know the administration that's in there now, they're kind of anti-development, if you will, because of those issues. Okay, they said, well, hey, we don't want more growth because we can't handle it, And they're like, well, wait a minute. You have to have people to work in these jobs. You have to bring people into the area to expand the economic base of the area, and that's how these towns happen. That's what you need. You need that input. And, but the people don't realize, a lot of them don't realize that we want to expand. We want to help Plant 1 and Plant 2. In fact, I invited a group out of Phoenix to come in and put a solution in. Dan over there running Plant 1 and 2, and Stephen Flanagan, we went over. I brought a group in to put chemicals in the plants to break down the sludge. They said they think they can get those plants 50% more efficient.
Wow.
Yeah. So
50%.
I didn't know that.
Oh yeah. So in addition to that, I also have a toilet that's been manufactured by Niagara Foundry that is a 0.8 gallon flush toilet. Okay, which is half of what a typical toilet uses. Now they have a chart. Public Works, they have a chart of what they consider usage for a typical apartment, okay? And they have that thing over 400 gallons per unit per day. And it's way overboard from what we have, studios, 1 and 2 bedroom units. Mm-hmm. And these units are all individually metered for water. These people are not going to waste their water. And those gallons, you'd have to flush the toilet every 47 seconds of the day and to use that many gallons of water. So, we're like, well, wait a minute, we need to revisit this whole thing, and that's part of the impact fees. Water and sewer were the largest impact fees, $1.8 million on our property, just in impact fees.
Say that again.
$1.8 million just for
people
water
need to
and
hear
sewer.
that.
This is just one building at the Promenade, over $1.8 million in impact fees.
That's not total. That's just water and sewer. When you add traffic, police, parks, library, streets, traffic, you're over $3.3 million in impact. Okay, and that's what we have to pay, and that's right out of HIP National.
And that right there, Frank, is something that the general public doesn't understand.
That's right.
And that doesn't even include all the stuff that went into when the development was put in. I mean, there's just huge amounts of money getting dumped back in.
Damn those developers.
Well, that's what you hear, and it's
interesting.
Well, here's the thing: is because if it wasn't for you guys and the developers, all this would fall on what we're talking about. The residents.
Well, exactly, and
you're in the amount of what you're using, utilities and all that kind of stuff, is such a minimal part. So we're all coming out ahead. It sounds like I'm selling this thing, but I'm really not. I'm trying to understand the real truth of this.
Well, and I've had lengthy conversations with Lauren Johnston here, the city manager, about the usage and the fees here that are involved in these impact. And they basically said that, well, hey, they've actually assessed the public as much as they could. The balance now has to go on to developers. And we're like, well, wait a minute, that's not fair at all to be able to put the onus on us now moving forward. We're trying to make these things happen in this town and create the downtown that Palm Coast deserves.
We got to do a better job in educating the public to these types of things that they just don't understand. I mean, I think it's always been the more complicated something is, the simpler. Are you for nuclear energy? No. What do you know about it? No, nothing, but I know I'm against it. It's like just the way the brain works on things. And but we need to do a better job in explaining on why these things are good, and not because it might take you a few minutes more to get to Publix or something. And to discourage, people from coming here and investing in our community, particularly town center. It was made for this.
That's right. That's right. And the intention of the city fathers back then was to actually develop the area as more of a commercial office park. And now nobody's building office space today. So the actual entitlements that were rendered back then really don't fit today's market. So it's more of a mixed use, live, work, play community, and that's what we're trying to accomplish there. Okay. So we have more foot traffic there. We have night traffic. We have people that want to live, work, and play in that area.
Does the fact that do the apartment complexes that have been built around the promenade, the center, the lake at town center, do those apartment buildings have an impact on your decision to build in town center?
They will. The ones that were built 5 or 6 years ago, there was a plan in place, and that was more for workforce type of housing. We want to kind of up the bar a little bit and bring, a different profile, and more of a profile, a mixed-use profile to the area too.
But do you see those apartments as being part of the support that would make the commercial work under?
They all help. That's right. Yeah, and when you connect all Toll Brothers new developments and everything going around, I believe it's going to be a total of 2,600 residences there within the next about a half-mile radius.
And from a planning standpoint, those people, 2,700 new structures being built, those people will shop locally there if they can. They'll run up here and get something, do something, eat at a place. It means they're not on the roads in front of you at the traffic lights. So it's good planning to give people the ability to stay in an area, and we haven't done that in Palm Coast because the original way it was built.
That's right. It was never developed as a city proper. It was always developed as a bedroom community in the past, and now we're creating the city, the downtown, if you will.
Okay. Hey, we're almost out of time. Frank, thanks for coming in.
Well, thank you
for
having me.
Good to spend time with you here, and we appreciate what you're doing at Town Center and making it something really cool. When's it going to be open? When can we come and party there?
We've got about a year away, about a year right now.
Yeah. And so if we want to rent, are people renting apartments?
Well, not yet. We'll do that 3-4 months before we start getting the COs on the buildings. But the commercial space, I think, because the lead times on the build out on the TI is a little bit longer than the units, so they'll probably we'll lock in those leases first.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if people just walk by, it's still a construction area.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right. Okay.
So we're just flying the last planks for the hollow core planks for the roof right now as we're speaking, and by the 9th, I believe, September 9th is when we'll have the roof complete. So then we can dry the building in.
Along.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Very good. So what's your website? What was I can't throw you off guard. It is Promenade at towncenter.com. Promenade towncenter. What would I say?
It's .com. Yeah.
.com. Thank you very much. Okay. Well, thank you. We'll be in touch, right?
Thank you.
All right, Jay Gardner. We had a lot of other questions, but like we said, if you have specific questions for your property or you don't know something, 313-4150 is the number for the Property Appraiser's Office. Final words of wisdom from Jay Gardner.
I'll be there in about 10 minutes. Give me a call. But if you are in doubt, if you have questions, look at your value on the trim notice. If you don't understand it, for gosh sakes, call us. And, if there's something wrong, we want to know about it and fix it. As I always tell everybody, the property appraiser works for the people in this county. We're not working for the county or the cities or the schools. We're providing a service to them, but we work for the people, and there is a separation there. So don't be scared to call us if something's wrong. Now, there may be nothing wrong,
Okay.
It's just, I mean, it's more than not, it's accurate. But please give us a call, that 4150 number, 313-4150, and you can look at your property on the website as well at flaglerpa.com.
And if someday Jay Gardner knocks on your door to look at your property, be nice to him.
I think he's sending somebody.
And we won't ask to come inside, David.
Brian, final words on this Labor Day weekend.
Yeah, I hope everyone has a great Labor Day weekend. Spend some extra time with your family, and it's a great place to live. Have a great weekend.
All right, don't forget, high school football live tonight, Matanzas, right here on WNZF. Rich Carroll, Mike Licio. It'll be a great game. Friday